Alright. Hello. Welcome everyone to the GTL Power Rankings. Also the first episode of the Power Spot, as it's officially being called. This is, I'm Lex, the organizer, and this is Julia. You're gonna be helping me go through all the teams, and say what we like, what we don't like, what we would change, and just kind of final thoughts on every team. So we're just going down alphabetically here. So I'm actually gonna get that on that doc. First up, we got Bacon and the team of Mr. Fish tours Northwest Indianapolis. So this is an interesting team. Yeah. So we can go either like tier wise or just kind of like general thoughts on the Mons. And also the gimmick for this season, if people are watching this and aren't in the league, it's only Pokemon from Johto, Sinnoh, Kalos, Alola, Galar, and Hisui. So no Gen 1, no Gen 5, no Gen 9. So a lot of powerful mons are not here. And Gen 3. Yeah. I think we'll both say the same thing. You've got two different dual screen setters. I was gonna say, like, it's probably that or like Alola and Ninetales are like the best screen setters. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that was the big thing with what I think Webs is so good with your tier ones. Like Shaman Sky being able to outspeed more things and flinch them. Dracovish means you don't always have to have sand up in order to outspeed things, which is huge. It just there's a lot of versatility, I think, with like your tier ones, your tier twos, and your tier threes. Especially if you're combining, Sandstream and Webs, which is definitely something you could do. I think you have enough other utility that you're trying to go like off with. Yeah, I mean you've got double strong jaw, which is, a huge threat, and then also like and then let me see. I was gonna say I think like the Terra Captains for this is probably out of these Pokemon probably the best three Terra Captains you can have. And Glaceon's got like good stats. It's just the problem is it's an ice type. Yeah, which is pretty good to have, especially like this is one of the few teams I think that hits hard physically and specially. A lot of teams, a little spoiler, a lot of teams kind of lean one way or the other. Now you can run foul play on it as well to take advantage of your opponent's attack. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think Pyro is one of the probably the best tier 5 picks you can make in this. Yeah, and it's like not slow either, I think. It's 109 special attack, 106 speed. Yeah, and you could also just like Moxie's kind of useless on a what 68. You could run on Nerve. Yeah, so it's basically like running an ability-less Mon, but it's got like good enough stats for the tier where I think it's okay. Yeah. But then, I think I don't know what else you have to say on the pro side, but there are definitely, as much as we've been talking like the goods of this team, there are definitely bads for it as well. That's because I think the Devil Dragon Devil Fairy is fine. Yeah, but then the issue with getting rid of the mime is the only spinner on the team. And then you've got webs. Yeah. And I was gonna and there's not a lot of spinners in tier 5. There's Eldegoss, which gives you it does get spin, but it does give you a second grass type. There is also No, there's Hisuian Avalog, which is great, but it's an ice type. Yes, that's a problem there. I think that actually is it. Then going up to tier 4, you do have actually something I brought up to Bacon, would be to drop Glaceon. Like, it is a great mon, but drop Glaceon for either Hitmontop or actually I think Terra Delmise would be great on this team. There's not a ghost type here, so Delmise I think also has like really high attack as well. And then additionally, it's got Steelworker, so you can do Terra Steel and basically double up on it. Yeah, so it's a great attacker. Yeah, it's Ghost Grass, and then it's got basically... It does give you a second grass, but they've served... Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I do like Hitmontop here. I was gonna say, I think it gets Ice Spinner as well, or Triple Axle. And it's got about the same speed, if not slightly more than Glaceon, so it could fit, like... It actually... Yeah, it's got 5 more. It's got 70 speed compared to Glaceon 65. It's got a, like, slightly less Spadef, I think. Because Glaceon's like 130. No, Glaceon's 130. Oh, yeah, yep. Yeah, honestly, I don't think there's any reason to not switch Glaceon out for Hitmontop on this team. Like, Glaceon is a really good Terra Captain and a really good tier 4, but I just don't think it's for this team. Yeah. It was mostly picked up because it was a tier 5 spinner. You could also, tier 5 does have Hisuian Sneasel, which would give you a poison type, and it gives you a 115 speed tier, so it fills in the hole between like Pyroar and Ribombee. And that gives you another fighting type if you didn't want to pick up Hitmontop, but then you wouldn't have a spinner, so you'd still have to replace Glaceon anyway. Yeah, I think Tyranium is here. There's not many other poison types in tier 5. You have Ariados, which is not being picked up on this team, or by... And you've got just a better... And I think that, outside of that and Hisuian Sneasel, that might actually be it. That is it for tier 5 grounded poisons. Actually, that's it for tier 5 poisons in general. So you could definitely pick up, if you wanted to pick up 2 fighting types, you could. So let me see. That would give you, although you do have a psychic weakness, or you have a fairy weakness already. A poison type would fail. Because what's... Are there any... Yeah, so I did out of 11 teams because I did not rank myself. I do have Bacon in 8th out of 11. Because I do think there's a lot of positives. I think this is a team that makes like one or two changes and it's like a lot better. So then we are moving on to the team that we disagree the most on. And now, I think you've convinced me more your way than I have convinced you my way. So just getting out of the way, this team physically is like monstrous. No, this is not. Yeah, there's a lot of, you got mods you can kind of play with in multiple ways here. One of the other like small synergies I have noted on here, I actually really like Tabu Lele with Dragapult, because Dragapult is so fast. You kind of, in order to actually go first, you need priority. Yeah, it's very fast. Being immune to Shadow Sneak on that mod is great. That's really the only one that actually matters outside, like, I guess Ice Shard as well. It's immune to Ice Shard and it's immune to Shadow Sneak. Like that's really good on this team. Mm-hmm. And another thing of these mons, I do think this team has picked the best Terra captains available. Once again, I was gonna say it might be just for coverage. Let me see what, like, if Galley gets in anything like interesting. Yeah, 'cause it lets it get stab ice punch, which is nice. And it gets stab triple axle as well. Yes, I am a big fan of Galarian Moltres. However, the other trait on this team I do not like, and we'll get to that one. This is another team I do like with webs. I don't think webs synergize as well as with Bacon's team, but this team definitely appreciates it because the only thing above. And that leaves you with Infernape, which kind of limits then what it can do. Yes, so Avalugg is the only spinner. I like Galarian Moltres a lot. I do think Alolan Muck was probably, truth be told, I think Alolan Muck is probably one of the weakest tier 2s. Yeah. Roserade. And also Vikavolt, but Vikavolt was more of a support mon. Yes. And then I think Moltres Galar does give you, like, the special attack you kind of need, so I think you could have stuck with Serena. Yes. And, it's basically got a built-in psychic terrain. It's immune to priority. It's got U-turn. It's got, I think, triple axle as well. Like a 130, 120 attack stat. Yeah. Like, it's a really good offensive utility. On a hyper-offensive team like this, I think it's the type of, like, utility mon you want. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then you can, drop kick, and then you can U-turn out and switch into something, and now suddenly, your mons that might not be as bulky are surviving a hit they shouldn't. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say, with this team low tier wise, I think Dreadnought and Avalugg are two of the best tier 5s. And I think you could make an argument for Mega Steelix being the best tier 4. I was gonna say that they do the same thing. However, because you only have one spinner, you're kind of forced to run Avalugg every week. Yeah, because I think with how this team is like built, you kind of need Vikavolt and Avalugg every week, which means you're probably not ever bringing Steelix. That basically just leaves you 4 slots to fit 6 Pokemon, so it becomes a lot easier to team build against you. Yeah, and it's not like the team is like slow either. It's just kind of middling. Like, pretty much everything that cares about speed is base 74 or above. So, like, that's, like, fairly good speed tiers. Like, not incredible, but, like, after a webs, it becomes good. Yeah. And you do have a ghost type, at least, which does block the... Yeah, you do have the ghost there. Like, really, I think if you just drop Roserade for Serena, like, you don't have a grounded poison, which is unfortunate, but you do have, a Steelix, and that frees up some of the burden off of Avalugg, so you can actually bring Steelix. Now, after saying that, I still have this team ranked really highly. On my rankings right now, like, it's probably gone down slightly from what this is, but I still have it as third. I still do really like this team. I think just you have too much pressure on Avalugg, and that's really the big issue here. I think, like, you make that change. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, going into this, before we talked earlier, I had this as my number 2 team. Like, I do like this team a lot. I do think you have good points on the cons. I do think there's still a lot of pros with this team as well. And there are a lot of similar teams to Brady's. I think I like Brady's of the teams because it does actually have, like, more on the special side. It can also just become a huge sweeper. It's a fantastic weakness policy mod. Yeah, you've got that, and then you do have the Rose Red. Actually, Gallade has a really good special defense. That's fair, especially Terra Gallade. And, like, physically, this team is, like, really defensive, but you're probably not ever wanting to bring Steelix and Avalugg to the same match. Unless, like, to be fair, actually, a lot of these teams are super physical, so you might actually bring them both. Like, not in a vacuum, just looking at this as, like, the actual, like, teams you're fighting. I think double physical wall is actually pretty good in this league. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of mods on this team you want to bring, and you've only got 6 slots. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we needed. No, it's still Alolan Raichu, Pangoro, and Executor, Alolan Executor. This is a team. I was gonna say, this is a team. I know Bushie got sniped a lot by someone in this call. And so I think he's built a really strong team, regardless of that. I am the number 1 Mega Scissor fan. I think that mod can just win games on its own in draft. Yeah, I don't think Entei is like, okay, Entei is like 85 defense, so it's not bulky, but it does have 115 HP. And they all do different things. Donphan can set hazards and spin. Slowking is, got Regenerator. It is absolutely so reliable in spinning. Slowking gives you a great pivot and Regenerator. And in Scissor, if you get Scissor in, like, off of a Slowking into, like, an awkward thing, you can click Swords Dance twice and click Bullet Punch through the entire team. Even Executor Alola has Teleport. It does. It gets it from regular one. You've actually got 3 teleports on this team. No. Also, I do really like Terra Alolan Raichu with Tapu Koko. Because you get Rising Voltage, you get Surge Surfer. I think it's a really great, even on tier 4, for this team in particular, I think it's a good pickup. Yeah. Yeah, because Rising Voltage is, what, 140 base power? Yeah, and then it's also, if you're Terra Electric, it's doubled. And also, nothing's going to outspeed you because you're 110 speed with Surge Surfer. Yeah, for being like not a lot of Mons, like you have 2 Mons and it's like a perfect core. You've got Weezing Galar, which is a great ground immunity for your 2 electric types, or it could also go neutralizing gas. I think Galarian Weezing is much better for this team than Roserade. Yeah. Yeah, you can tear out of it to get like a hit off, but I do think, I mean, if you're looking for a tier 5 dragon, it's probably the best option there. Because yeah, I think Appleton and Flapple are tier 4. Yeah. So like if that's what you're going for, then yeah, that's it. So if we've got the tier 5 dragon, so you got your dragon type at a budget. Um You're probably good, especially because Wheezing it's like it's happy to run defog. Also, the team has four mons at 100 speed or higher. However, it does drop to like 75 after that. You got nothing in the 80s or 90s. Mm-hmm. It's base 77. It's like fairly average. No, Bacon's team's also quite fast. Mm. It does have a slow king, so that makes sense. Yeah, it does. It does not have the um webs, but this team doesn't need it really. Not really. I don't think this team needs a lot said about it. I think it's just an overall like really solid team. I think probably the best team we've seen so far. I would argue between. I was gonna say interestingly, I actually my ratings have been changing. I actually did have this in fourth, but I would probably put it above Brady's now. So this probably goes in third for me. But I do think like they're both good teams. I think this team just has less you need to like. I think this team doesn't really need any changes, or rather, I don't know what you would change on this team to improve it. Yeah, like actually, if I'm looking at my list here, I didn't even notice the ground weakness. It's actually neutral to ground at this point. Then it's bad. It goes to I think a -3. Yeah, and also you don't really need neutralizing gas because you have your own terrain and your own weather. You can set snow, you can set electric terrain. You don't need neutralizing gas. I don't think you ever need to run anything besides levitate. Hmm. Yeah. Moving on. That's its name. Yes, so I do like the Dragonsteel Fairy Core on this team a lot. I actually think Reggie Drago. I think Reggie Drago is great in this format. Yeah, like I think it's actually like a very, very good dragon type in this format. I'm excited to see what it does. Yeah, so much HP. Yeah. Yeah, Aegis Slash is both like I think great specially, or it's great offensively and defensively, and then Sylveon is also just a fantastic fairy type. Yeah. Yeah, which I think is fine because it was really good. Interestingly, this is one of the few teams that actually leans special. I think it's actually like one of the more balanced teams. However, it does have an overall lower like stat total, but it's like balanced, pretty much everything. Yeah, so this team is very slow. Now, Yanmega does have speed boost, which is something. But then going on to that, I do not like these captain choices. I think I think you have Yanmega and for Alligator and Hisuian Typhlosion there in tier 3. I think one of them should be a Terra Captain, no questions asked. Or like Tinted Lens Yanmega is basically a low kicks. Yeah. Or you can go speed boost too. Or you have Terra Sheer Force for Alligator. Yeah, let me actually pull up the types on here because I don't. Yeah, so you're doubling up on Dark, which I guess your team does actually something I did mention. That's what I was gonna say. That's probably why they are Terra Dark on there. But then you're forced to Terra Dark. I've had to do that before. I would like that a lot here actually. That gives you. It kind of feels very similar to Reggie Drago. Actually, what I said is to drop Malamar for Skuntank. Yeah. And then it gives you a grounded poison that you don't have. It gives you one of the other things with this team. Your only hazard removal are both bug flying types. Like I think Skuntank gives you it's a ghost resist. It's a grounded poison. It's another defogger. I think it gets toxic spikes. It might not. It might just have like toxic. Yeah, it gets sucker punch. I think it's a fantastic pickup for this team over Malamar. I think I think what I would do is I would change my Terra to like Yanmega or Typhlosion. I would actually drop Auroras for Ambipom. It fixes your speed. It's a 115 speed. Terra normal gives you a great offensive hitter. I think two ghosts is not the worst, especially if you start picking up like Skuntank. If you pick up Skuntank, I think it's like really good. Yeah, I like Yan Mega here. I don't like Vivian, but I don't know what else. What else would this team want from tier? Just kind of show up and be a surprise. Hmm. Yeah, there are. I mean, there are some other tier fives I think this team could like. Like if you do want, you don't have a grass type yet, so if you wanted an actual spinner, I think Eldegoss would be lovely here. Yeah, Gastrodon loves to click rocks. Dugtree Alola would give you a second steal and a second ground, but I think it's a very strong tier 5 still. Yeah, I do. I like the Gastron here. Like, you did double up on water types, but I think both your water types are, like, pretty good. Yeah. It's like, I think you could. I think pretty much every team can be fixed with 3 changes. Oh, yeah, because it's not, because it's not dusk, is it? Yeah. So, like, I think if you just drop Malamar, like, hang on, can you go into the teams? Just edit, yeah, just make Malamar to Skuntank, Ambipom, and then put Terra on, like, Feraligatr and Ambipom. I just want to see what this team looks like. Yeah, and then just drop it off of, Lycanroc and Vivian. And, like, oh, that speed tier-wise, this team looks so much better. Yeah, you have two mods that are like so happy to switch in on rock moves. And like you do have a ground weakness still, but you have two immunities. Yes. And then like electric is now a problem, but you do have a Gastrodon and a Regidrago. And now you have 3 options for defog here. It gives you another U-turn mon. You gives you toxic spikes. Yeah. And not even just I think it's just a like a much more threatening team. Like I think your Terra captains are actually like very strong now. Yeah, so I have this. This is not the worst team. I was gonna say I'm not counting myself in my ranking, so for me it's 10th out of 11th. Um, yeah, but luckily I do think you have like I think this team is fixed with like 3 changes. I don't even think it's like F because I think it's a team that's like fixed. Well, I'd say like if we're doing tier list, like probably bottom of D. I definitely think it can improve. I think like the team I'm looking at here in front of me is like actually really good. I think Skuntank is probably one of the best tier 4s, and I'm shocked it didn't get picked just for its utility in this format. And then Ambipom might be slight. It's one of those mons where it's kind of tough to rank it because it's like a really strong tier 5, but kind of feels just okay in tier 4. But if you've got a slot for a Terra, it's really good in tier. It's a really good Terra. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. You could just fake out and then you turn out and you're like happy. You got quite literally your chip. Moving on. The worst team in the league, I would say. I wish it was. So speed wise, let's start with the positives. This team is really damn fast. Four. Oh yes, your Regieleki is special. Yeah, you can move around a lot with this team. The issue is you said 4 volts. Yep. Yeah. So I think you keep Regieleki. And now, unfortunately, one of my positives was put before he declared captains, and where I said Typhlosion is an excellent tarot captain. He did not pick. Yeah, especially because it is an electric type that just has Ice Beam, like, on its own. I would have actually liked Terra Flying. Yeah, and it gives you a ground immunity. So, I mean, you do have double normal types, but I think both the normal types here are actually pretty good. Yeah. And I like Hisui and Gudra a lot. It's your steel type and your dragon type. It's a fantastic special wall. Granted, I don't think special walls are as good. Also, like, if we're looking at team averages, this team hits hard. Hmm. I mean, yeah, it's definitely like not. You've got Mega Ampharos. Hmm. And then, and speaking of rocks, that is the only one that has rocks on this team, or any sort of hazard. And your only removal is Regieleki, which I actually don't like, because I do think Regieleki. So Regieleki basically has 6 moves. You have Rapid Spin, you have Volt Switch. I'm sorry, it's got 5 moves. You have Rapid Spin, I'll say 6, because Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Dual Screens, and then you can go Boom. You can go Boom. Yeah, and you got screens. I like Regieleki does help with the bulk on this team, however, because you can set screens. I think what you do, I think you just drop a Alolan Golem, Lantern, and Mega Ampharos. So it's another team I will recommend picking up Serena if Brady doesn't pick it back up. Serena's tier 3. That would be, I believe, Mega Ampharos. I like Cramorant. Like, I think tier 5 Cramorant on this team is, like, pretty good. I did. So I've had a couple options. I think if you don't want Cramorant, I think tier 4 Mantine is bulkier. Another couple options I have. Rotom Mow, I think, would work nicely if you want to keep another electric type, but it's a ground immune electric type with Defog. It's tier 4, it's tier 3. It is tier 3. Or you do it instead of Serena. Another thing I had considered if you had another option for fairy types lined up, I actually really like Uxie on this team. Make Typhlosion your Terra Captain. Uxie gives you your rocks back. And it's also ground immune. Yeah, and also then, you've got like and there's a lot of ways you can fix this team, I think. It's not a team where I'm like, these are like the best changes. You can, like, if you don't want to do Uxie, you have tier 4 Mesprit. If you don't want to do Cramorant, you got tier 4 Mantine. You got Rotom or Serena. Like, there's a lot of ways to fix this team, like, pretty easily. Also, now, like, looking at this team, if you do this is the fastest team in the league. Oh yeah, Uxie then is your bulk, and you're still like somehow you are one of the physically like strongest teams too. This team becomes a huge this team is a massive wall breaker now. Uxie I think can Terra. Oh yeah, it's Terra allowed. You can do Terra Uxie, make it not a psychic type. I would say, or what we can do is there's I think just Darkspun. No, not Darkspun because that's Gen 9. I always think it's on this list. Alchemy and Carbink. You could also swap Cramorant out for Mantine and then find a different tier 5. Like let's put Mantine on this team because Mantine's bulkier than Cramorant and gets water absorb. And then we're gonna drop I don't know if there's any tier 5 fairies actually. Togetic. And that's another. Oh yeah, this team is still like crazy fast. And it's like one of the bulkiest teams in the league now too. Well then you could drop Serena for really like anything if you wanted to. Yeah, you can make like 3 changes in like 10 different ways, and this becomes one of the best teams in the league. Yeah. Like I think Frost can go from 12th to like second, like with like two changes. Yeah, this team is fantastic. Even with Teraband Lucario, like this team is so tanky. Which is a bit of a problem in this league, but that's still you do have screens. And you've got now two defoggers, two spinners. You do only still have stealth rocks. That's fine. And for electric types. So this is the team I think that has the most potential to grow. I would like I'm hoping Frost makes some changes because I would love to see this team be incredible. Like I would play this team. Yes. Yeah, no problem. I will. All right. We are back. Oh, so it is still a good. It is a good Z captain. This team. Terra's being Colossal and Comfey. Terra. Oh, you got them pulled up. I was gonna say. Yeah, this is the best team in the league, and I don't think it's close. Yeah, so just look at your tier ones. Obviously, like Ghost Fighting is such a good like combination. And not only that, both of these mons are above 130 speed. And Lopunny hits you super hard physically, and Spectre hits you. Yeah. Oh yeah. This team is so fast. And yeah. And then also this team can hit you physically and specially so hard. Like granted, specially it's I mean not even because like Colossal like has a lot of great special options. Comfey hits you specially, Rotom hits you specially, Noivern hits you specially, Spectrier. Yeah, and now granted, I do think Colossal like can hit really hard with meteor beams. Yeah, and Comfey, if it gets some Calm Minds up, it's very hard to deal with. But yeah, yes, those are probably two of the best Terra captains in the league. I am using Terra Colossal and Comfey in a league right now, and they're doing amazing for me. Yeah. Now, luckily, like this format kind of is okay with that, just with how the teams have been built. Like this is the best special team, and it's a team with the less special bulk. The one con I have listed. So both of your like tier ones. Lopunny obviously it's got to have the Mega Stone. Like Lopunny probably gets built the same way like 9 out of 10 games. Yes. So they're two mons that are predictable. It's just a question of can you deal with it. And honestly, that is hard to do. I have lost to both of these Pokemon in draft. Yeah, I've lost to both of these mons. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say this team is also like great in the hazard department because you have Hisuian Quillfish and Colossal. And like now granted, I don't think Scissor ever really wants to run Defog, but Rotom Wash loves running Defog. And like Comfey can run it, Comfey some like it's not always it wants to run, but it definitely can. And Colossal always has room for rapid spin. Yep. You've got so much pivoting, which is great because it lets you bring out your Spectrier and your Megalopony into things that don't want to be on the field against them, Spectrier or Megalopony. You've got, Will-O-Wisp. You've got Heal Bell and Aromatherapy if you don't want your team get like if your Lopunny gets like burnt, you can Aromatherapy with Comfey. You have 5 ways to click Taunt. You've got two mons that are very happy to run knockoff. You've got Prankster Encore. You literally have Prankster Encore on this team. You have two Trick Mons. It doesn't. Oh wait, does Jumpluff not get Prankster? Okay, never mind. But it's still like, it's 110 speed with yeah, Encore. So that's good. If you wanted to trap things, you've got Fire Spin, Sand Tomb. You've got just all that. You've got Haze. You've got two Dragon Tails. You got Roar. You got Whirlwind. You got Circle Throw. You have 4 things that can click. No. You've got 4 different mons that can click Pain Split. This is. This is a scary team. Yeah. It's got priority Sword Stance. And just, it's so easy. It's got Sword Stance into priority. And I think it's hard to beat this team. This team is so good. Like this is a beautiful team. Like you can just look at this team and go like, "Oh, yeah, that's a team." And we next up would actually be you, but I think we're gonna save us for last. And every team has a slight rock weakness. That is like a common place. I like this team a lot. This is my number two team. I love this team a lot. And also, like, you got a Zygarde as well. I think Zygarde behind Aurora Veil is like, you're not going to kill that thing, and it's going to click Dragon Dance like twice. You've got web support in Araquanid. You've got priority. You mentioned this. You have two priority Tailwind Mons. You've got a Regenerator Mon. Urshifu does not have access to Swords Dance, but it is still an Urshifu. It does get bulk up. Now I do love this team, and like it is like pretty fast. I don't think it's one of like the fastest. It's one of the faster teams overall. 82 speed is like really good. Oh yeah, 132 special defense. You've also got Eviolite Terra Dunsparce. Yeah. And then like there's just I do like so one of the things I'll get into more once we get to the negatives, but I do like the Terra cap. I think this team has so many Terra options. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I do also really like Terra Electivire as it basically just becomes Rhyperior at home. Yeah. I think a lot of people wanted Rhyperior. I was gonna say I do like Terra flying on it, but I think oh yeah, Stab Trailblaze is actually nice, and you do resist ground. Yeah, 'cause you're still a Electivire. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then stab, so it becomes actually like a really strong move. The one thing I am sad, I really would have, especially because there was an oopsie on my end, I would have loved to have seen the abuse of Terra Araquanid. And I also do like Terra Talonflame a lot. Yeah, and that's not really a special attacker. Yeah, although it's got 100 attack, I think normally it likes running Power Whip. Yeah. I feel like I've always seen it, like, I always, like, let me look. So I'm looking at SV, or Sword and Shield UU. It is Assault Vest, Power Whip, Knockoff, Sludge Bomb, Focus Blast. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't like that thought. This is a Rock Week team. Uh, like to be fair, like Talonflame is always gonna be running boots anyway. Ninetales probably wants the one light clay on this team. Murkrow probably wants Eviolite, and then Araquanid probably wants something for damage. It's like you are getting worn down. That's fair. I mean, I used to run Heat Rock on it because I used it as a drought setter when I used it. Yeah, it is very weak as well because you have what yep, and then you do have the Murkrow as well. Because like you really only have Sand Slash, which doesn't have a lot of Spadef, and Talonflame. Yeah, you've got a decent. If we're going down to hazards, you do have. One of the things I actually think is a problem is I feel like Sandslash wants to do too much. Sandslash can be like it can be your sweeper, but it's also your only rapid spinner. It's your only spiker. It's one of your two stealth rockers. One of the other ones being your other Terra Captain and Dunsparce. And you do have web, so you kind of don't want to run defog. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's kind of a negative, but also kind of a positive. Yeah. This team's almost got the issue of having too many good Terra Captains. Because I would love to see, like, Araquanid as a Terra Captain. I'd love to see Talonflame as a Terra Captain. But I also absolutely get the three that, this team chose. Who do you actually want to Terra each game? Yeah, this team probably has used, like, the Terra Captain rules of the season the best. This team has to really think about its Terras every game. Mm-hmm. And it's a good team where our biggest con is that your stuff has too many things it can do. Yeah, this team is like, there's too many good things on this team. It is one of the faster teams. Most of the teams are sub 80. You have Webs and Tailwind, yeah. You're kind of happy for Murkrow to die. You're like thrilled. Like you're basically playing a 5v6, but you have Tailwind up for free. Yeah. Especially because if you do Tailwind, you could be like, yeah, I'm gonna throw a band on this thing this game. Mm-hmm. This team looks like a ton of fun. And also, you don't have a poison. You are like you're kind of relying on Sandslash for your fairy types, which is the one issue because you don't have a poison on this team. I do love Zygarde. I was heavily considering Zygarde for my own team, so I'm very glad to see it got picked up at the end of the draft. Yep, great team, excellent team. This is the team that I kind of ruined. Yeah, so this team to me kind of falls in the same camp of like a Bushie team or a Brady team, where this team is really physical. It's got an average of 101 attack. You do have Volcanion. Yeah, I think. And Toxtricity. Terratoxtricity, that. Yes. So you do have three, like, pretty solid special attackers. This is on the slower end of teams. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Sella, so. Oh. I completely. Yeah, I forgot about Magic Bouts. Oh, yeah, that's actually, like. Yeah, Zatu is actually, like, so good. Zatu alone, like, makes this team better. I believe it does. And I do. Yeah, I will actually get into an issue I have with the Runerigas pick here shortly. I do think with this team in particular, Weavile was smart because every single snow setter that was worth anything got picked. Yes, both of them. Yeah, and yeah, I got taken. I do like Bulu. I'm a big Bulu fan. Maybe not here where it doesn't have Z moves. I'm using Z Bulu in a different league, and it's great. I do think Terratoxtricity is really good. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for Terra Corsola. I mean, you have a Celesteela, and that's kind of what matters. Is Lilligant Hisui is the most nerfed tier 3 in the entire league because it is Z band. It was Z band, Terra band, and there is not a single Sunsetter in the entire league. Well, I think it's still very good because Victory Dance. Um, and there's a lot of like good stuff to say about this team. I do have a few negatives as well. I don't know what else you have to say positively. I think we've covered a lot of like the goods. Yeah, Celesteela likes clicking Leech Seed. You have grassy terrain. No, it's not that fast. You don't have a dragon type. And then the other one, with Runerigus, this team actually is very ghost weak. Your only ghost resist is the Weavile, which really... Weavile isn't really a resist to anything. Let's be real. Like, it does not want to switch in. Yes, that is true. But I am worried about that. I am worried about that. You also are rock weak, like a lot of teams. Now, granted, Xatu kind of just goes, no, no, no. Oh, it's just not updated on here? Yeah, I was gonna say, I would like to see a Ghost Resist on this team. You know what, I think this team would actually love a Guzzlord. Lunarigus? Like, what does this look like if you throw Guzzlord in here? Yeah, it doesn't change the ice weakness at all. Uh, it fixes your ghost weakness. Like, obviously, it doesn't... It significantly increases your HP. No, I would like to see a Guzzlord on this team. Um, yeah, I mean, of your tier 3s, obviously Lilligant cannot Terra, which basically just leaves you with Toxtricity, which I think is a one that does like clicking Terra. Just because it needs the offensive boost. Secret Trailblaze. I would like to see Terra Grass on Luxray. Yeah. Especially now, like, you get base 90 Trailblaze on that thing, it helps you with your speed, then you get Flame Orb and, like, Guts, and you're so happy. Then you're outspeeding everything. So with Xatu, this team does actually go up probably a slot in my rankings, and I would love to see a Guzzlord on here, but that's really the only change. I think this is... I had this at 7th, I would probably bump this up to 6th. Maybe even 5th. I like this team. That was interesting. Although I don't know if it really did much, because that was, yeah, I'm very happy with that placement. Um, Moving on. I think we said a lot about that team. I think we got everything said. Positives. This team does actually hit on the special side as well as the physical side. It's one of the more physical teams of the whole batch of physical teams. Yeah. And then, like, defensively, Incineroar kind of makes everything else bulkier with Intimidate and Parting Shot. Florges is a great special wall. Um, Eviolite Duraludon. Yes. And well, those two are looking at each other, so maybe they are. I think Torterra. I think Torterra is probably one of the best Terra Captain options. And also makes you, it's a, I believe rock resists ice. It might not though. So, interesting. I would like to see an ice resist on there, like steel. I think steel would be so lovely. Fire ice. And then also, your water type right now isn't very bulky. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually really like Frostlass as a spiker. Yeah, because Cleavor obviously does not ever want to run Defog. Sorry, there's a bug on me. I think Florges could, but does it want to? Not really. Yeah. And mm-hmm. And then one of the other big issues is type overlap with this team. 3 psychics. Both of your tier 5s, Meowstic and Weirdeer, and then Galarian Slowbro. Psychic is probably one of the worst types to double up on here. Especially with the like how good some of the ghost and dark types are in this league. Actually, I think Meowstic's a tier 4. I think Meowstic is probably one of the worst tier 4s. Is it? No, it's tier 4. I've been looking at this mod for like leagues before. It gets Intimidate, it gets Screens. That's kind of all it can do. I don't like this thing at all. So here's what I would like. So this team has 4 tier 4s. Yes, it picked up a tier 2 and then 2 tier 4s with points. I don't think you need the Meowstic. At all. I don't like Galarian Slowbro. It's just okay in everything. Yeah, it's just okay. It doesn't really have the defensive profile to back it up. Yeah, so I also don't like the Appleton, because you do have 2 grasses and 2 dragons. So like, let's say you drop Meowstic. So hang on. Here's a mod I'm curious about. This would be a great Skuntank team, yes. I would not hate an Orbeetle. If you do want a poison, if you want a psychic type, that's a tier 4 psychic. Gets webs. Really bulky. If we drop Meowstick, I'd say we drop Meowstick, we drop Weird Air, and drop Slowbro Galar. So what is, hang on, how does that open up slots? Let me look here. Let me, yeah, I've got to look at this just to see like points wise how it goes. So that's a 1. Yeah. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. Yeah, Orbeetle is tier 4. So I guess you would keep Duraludon and Appleton for now. Yeah. I am a big tub fan. So what, we get another tier 5? I mean, tier 5 could be anything that's not a psychic. So what are we looking for with this team for a tier 3, for instance? Probably, we would like we want a fairy resist. No. Well, the issue is we have a steel type that's a dragon, and we have a fire type that's a dark. Dragalge, which is also... So I guess if we look at tier 4, I mean, you're also picking up Skunting, which isn't a poison, which isn't a ghost resist. Or which isn't a, there's Quillfish. Oh man, but I actually like Orbeetle. Like, I do really like Orbeetle on this team. You could do Quillfish over Appleton. What does Quillfish over Appleton look like? It looks better, yes. Yeah. What is there that cooks in tier 3? What do we want? Do we want, like, this team? Yeah. You can pick up, like, a Lycanroc. Oh, you have a Cleaver. I was gonna say Lycanroc midday. If you want a Ghost, I think Poltegeist is actually, like, not too slow, isn't it? I think Poltegeist at 70 speed, so not great. It's not, but it's also a Psychic. So I guess we would drop Orbeetle then at that point. There's a Surfetched, but we have a Fighting type. Oh, yeah. If we drop Orbeetle, I would not hate like an Electro Hisui on this team. So drop Orbeetle for Electrode and then pick up like Espeon or what is a Galarian Articuno speed-wise? 95. 95 with competitive. Psychic Flying gives you a ground resist. Or ground immunity. 125 special. None. Yeah, so you pick up Gart. Like you have a rock weakness, but you have 3 rock resists. And then like you do have the ground weakness, which I mean that's like whatever. You have yeah. And then flying, you do have the 1 flying resist. Like, and then still you have what? You still have your tier 5 completely open. For whatever you really wanted. A Alolan Duck Trio. It is a ground week. Any of the Rotoms. Oh, I guess it would just be base Rotom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's three changes because you pick up Articuno, Quillfish, Electrode. Yeah, this team becomes then really fast. This becomes a really fast team. This becomes a like pretty good special team. Just because you got Electro, but then you have like you still have 110 Frostless. You got 95 on Articuno now. Quillfish is 85. Now your slowest mon is 56, and it's a Shell Smash mon. I also have Nate rated 10th. I have Nate only above Frost and Cam. Yep. We should move on to the last person. That's not us. Now, I actually am a big fan of Siah's team. I think I have Siah's team rated higher than you do. Yeah. We will talk about who we should. Yeah, we can go through that in the pros. Great utility mons. Also, if you look like and Empoleon can defog back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Togekiss is a really solid, like, this is a tier with not a lot of fairies. Togekiss is a very solid fairy to pick up. I think Mega Hair... And Mega... It gets Trailblazed now. With this rule set, you don't have to Mega first turn, so you can try and go for a little Moxie boost. It doesn't, even. I actually... So, little context. Siah was the second pick. I was the third pick. I was picking Mega Heracross as third pick until Siah picked it as second pick. I think it is very good. It does get Arm Thrust. Yeah, this team is the slowest team. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to go over Terra Captain's ideas first. Yeah. Yeah. I think Terra Rhyperior is probably the best possible Terra Captain in Tier 3. I think if you're picking Rhyperior in Tier 3, you should be Terra Captaining it. Because I think if you're not making it a Terra, I think it is a really bad Tier 3. Or Terra Flying as well, which is really great as well. I think Heliolisk is the best Tier 5. And then Dusknoir is just there because you gotta have something. Some of these other mons, I think Magmortar is probably one of the weakest tier 3s. Yeah, although granted, I would actually have liked to see like a Delphox. I guess. It is faster than Magmortar. Houndoom Mega is a absolute bait because there is no sun. It still hits hard, but that's it for tier 3 fires. So then you'd have to start looking at like different tiers. And I think your tier 1. This team, however, does have points left on the table. Although granted, then you would be leaving Z captain points on the floor. Because if you did Rhyperior Heliolisk, you can't do anything else. With those two, I think you are still pretty happy. You do have 3 ghost types, which I don't think is the worst type ever to... Now, granted, you do have 2 normals as well. And you also have 3 dark resists. Dusknoir doesn't really do much as a Pokemon. Yeah, and also it's so slow on a team that's already really slow. Although, granted, like, I mean, what would you want on this team? What are you missing? What are we missing type-wise here? You don't have a dragon. That is something. This team is dragonless. No grass. No ice. Executor Lola, which is already taken. There is, the funny little, actually, an option to drop Magmortar, drop one of your tier 4s, or drop like Dusknoir. You could pick up a Turtonator. It's a spinner as well. Like, it's also slow, but it gives you a really good physical defensive mon. It has 1 more defense than Dusknoir. Or no, it's tied. Yeah, there are 2 flying types. But they're both good. But you do have 2 ground immunities and a ground resist. Yeah, that's very valid. You could do tier 4 Flapple. Ursaring is funny, but I think it's just kind of a permanent bench warmer of a mon. If you really wanted a tier 4 normal, I think you pick up Licky Licky. Yeah, it does help when you have 3 ghosts, but if we're dropping 2 ghosts, then that's also not really an issue. This team could pick up an Orbeetle, although you do have a bug type already. Mega Scissor. But, like, they're both really good. So I have this team currently in 6th. However, I will probably bump it below Maggie's to drop it into 7th, just because I think of the Xatu. But I think for a team that drafted this without a prep doc and just drafted because of mons you like, I think this somehow is like actually a really good team. I like this team though. I do. So level. Yeah, we can go over our teams. You want to go over my team first or your team first? All right. So my team. Oh, hang on. I don't have my Terra Captains declared here. I probably don't have yours either. So. Also, there's a bug flying around. I got yours. So this is my team. My team consists of Darkrai, Skarmory, Rotom Heat, Zygarde 10%, Z Mimikyu, Terra Arctovish, Passimian, Galarian Slowking, Ice-Q, and Komala. And for my Terra types, they are Water, Ice, and Steel. So I went double stab at Steel. Obviously, it's my team. I like my team. I have one Terra. No, double stab and Steel. It is, but it kind of makes it a one-time deal where if I just ran Swords Dance, I can kind of Swords Dance anytime I come in if I want. It does. Like, I'm probably just gonna run Let's Snuggle forever a lot of the time. Oh yeah, I have probably one of the highest defense teams in the league. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely on there. And then obviously Darkrai is a Darkrai. It is no sleep. And even technically, I would consider Vish as well, because I would consider like Chili Reception set up for it. But it's set up where it's not on the field. Darkrai is allowed Nasty Plot. Zygarde 10%. I think it got some fun tools. It does have Loaded Dice Scale Shot as an option now, but I still think it probably prefers D-Dance just because of the attack boost. I'm Rock Weak. But yeah, most of the one like thing for my team is that a lot of my mods are set up. Like I think speed tier, I'm actually kind of middling in the speed tiers, but my actual like distribution of speed is really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But they're mostly there for defense. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so hazard-wise, I mean, I've got a Skarmory and I've got a Glow. Like, both of my defensive tools can click. They can click hazards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rotom Heat is also. I am a huge Kamala supporter. It's got 115 attack. It's got like 95 SPDF. It's also the only Pokemon in the game that gets the combination of Rapid Spin, U-Turn, and Wish. It's also got Knockoff, it's got Sucker Punch, it's got Ice Spinner, it's got Wood Hammer. It's immune to. I think it could. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something you did mention was dropping Basimian. Um, I mean, it's a rock. It is a rock resist. So I did draft this before Hitmontop became available again. However, I do. I mean, it's got like pretty good stats, like 100, like 120, 90, 60, 80. Like it doesn't have a lot of like SPDF, but it can absolutely run a Assault Vest. That's true. It's another pivot. It's my other U-turn mon, which is a pretty nice thing it gets access to. It gets knockoff. It's defiant, so you don't want to switch an intimidator in on it. And it's also a good defog blocker because of defiant as well. It is on my consideration. I'm not 100% sure because like I do actually like the monkey. I do think I want to at least try it because it is faster than Hitmontop. I think like honestly, it's faster than Hitmontop. I think it's bulkier than Hitmontop. I think it hits harder than Hitmontop. I mean, so we're comparing 50 defense to 100 defense, and we're comparing 95 defense to 90 defense. 60 to 110, yeah. But then it's 120 compared to 95, and it's 80 compared to 70. Yeah, and it gives rapid spin as well. So I can definitely see the argument. And then, like I said, my team does. It's very physical outside of Darkrai, and I'm trying to figure out if I can change that, and I just don't know if I can. I mean, there is also Ice Cube, which when it has its Ice Face, ignores physical damage the first time, and then it becomes 130 base speed. Ice Cube is really funny. I'm excited to use Ice Cube. I was actually super tempted if I wasn't doing like Mimikyu Arctovish. Yeah, I do. So my team's actually secretly more bulky than it would be. Yeah, that's I was gonna say I'd probably put myself like in the top four here, but it is also tough because I do know. I mean, I do actually have issues with your team. Yes. So, would you like to introduce your team? So positive wise, this is a fairly fast team. This is also, I would say this is probably the bulkiest. This is the most defensive team in the league. Which is both, I would say, a positive and a negative. Because I think being, especially on the physical side, this team is really bulky, which is good. But also, I think this team does have a chance of getting ran over by some teams. Type-wise, I mean, you do have, like, 4 ice weaknesses. But you have the best ice resist in the game. Actually, you have 3 very good ice resists. And you have a Garchomp that resists rock. You've got hazards for days. And you've also got like 2 bonds that I think typically like running their removal moves. Um, that's Crobat. Mm-hmm. So I know Z Celebi is good. I get Terraboltund. Can you? I'm just curious what Greedent does. That's because I know it's got 120. It's what 120, 95, 75 just with 0 speed. And it gets knockoff, which is nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're also just like fairly good types anyway that you're kind of missing out on. Um, yeah. Yes. What? And speaking of nasty plot and Z moves, your team is similar to mine, where we both kind of like having setup. We kind of don't have. Neither of us have. I think I do have more immediate pressure, but I think your team is bulkier in exchange. Mm-hmm. Or Garchomp. You said Drapion. And I do have words about Crobat. Well, we'll get to Crobat. I not necessarily a Crobat hater. I just don't know if you need it here. Yes, it is, but your team is already fast. And then also, like, it's a second flying type, it's a second poison. Your team is already, like, kind of rock weak thanks to it, and it's ice weak thanks to it. They do different things. They're poison types that aren't. Yes. I just, with this team, like, I've mentioned this before to you, I would like to have seen something more, like, offensive in your tier 2 slot there. You can also do like even like an overquill. Overquill is very real. Intimidate, 115 attack, 85, 95, 85 speed. It gets Barb Barrage, which is awesome. You could run, one or the other. Like, it's got multiple things it can do. Yeah, and it makes it have stab liquidation, and it's got swift swim. Mm-hmm. And then the one other thing outside of Crobat is not necessarily that it's a bad mon. I feel like with this team in particular, you kind of are forced to run offensive Garchomp. Because Garchomp is one of those mons, like you said, it's kind of got that Valiant thing, where it can be either like a really good, attacker in a couple different ways. Yeah. It could also be like I think that's part of the thing with team building is like you have to prep for two different Garchomps every battle against you. But mhm. That's fair. I just feel like without but I feel like it's less often you're gonna even look at running tank chomp. And I feel like that's part of the strength of Garchomp as a like tier one is the fact that it is so versatile in team building. It could be SD, it could be like I D dance, it could be scale shot. Does it not? Okay, I thought it did at some point now. Gotcha, yeah. But I mean, truthfully, those are nitpicks. Those are just like the things I've seen just from looking at this team. Because I do like this team. So I'm curious where you put yourself. I put you in fifth. Okay, I was gonna say I do actually still have Brady above you, but that I mean I could debate it, between you two. I do think like definitely like probably below like Bushie, Kevin, Hannah, and myself in teams, and then I think like the next tier of like you, Brady, Maggie is like all fairly close. Yeah, so that is now every team we've gone through. We could just go, kind of quickly over team rankings. So I think in last place we both agreed it's the Frost team, but that is also the team I think back to back. But I think they're both teams that with a few changes can become like great. They could be fantastic teams with like 3 changes each. And then I think we both have Nate and then Bacon, correct? I was gonna say I have moved mine. I did have Maggie then Siah, but I'm changed that to be Siah then Maggie. So I think we're in agreement there. You know, both those teams are good with like a few issues, but not nearly as like need to fix as the teams before. Mm-hmm. I think like the breakdown. Frost and Cam are teams that like actively need like multiple changes to fix their team. I think Nate and Bacon are like they need like 1 or 2 really good changes, but they're not like terrible teams. I think Bacon's got a lot of really good stuff. I think Bacon just needs to get rid of one of the ice types. I think Maggie and Siah are in that tier of like their teams are good, but like they could probably do like 1 change to make it better. And I'll probably put Brady in that. I'll put Brady there as well, actually, yeah. And then I'll put like you and Bushie, and then like yeah, me, probably Kevin. I think Kevin's team. I don't know what you could change to make like. Obviously, I would like to see a special attacker, but the team is good. And then I think Hannah's team is like basically perfect. I don't think you could draft a better team for this format if you tried. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we will be doing weekly VOD reviews of every game. We're going to be going over, you know, like any changes, 2 teams, as well as just like overall like standings and just kind of, you know, we'll see where it goes from there. We're going to try and do that every week. This is going to be an eight games, so you have 8 weeks after this. This is week 0. Yep, after each round of playoffs. So if you've watched this whole thing, I don't know why, because it's 2.5 hours long. And this is 4 less players. Mm-hmm. But yeah, well, I'm going to stop the recording here before it gets any longer. Thank you all for watching, and hope if anyone is watching this, they do make the changes that we recommended.